the first 3 answers will be what are graded. So if you only partially complete an answer but don't strike it out, that will be marked first. We will not go, oh look, there's another one after that. We will mark the first 3. We have to, it's the external examiner looks at them as well. The way to engage is to make sure you are referring back to the question in how you answer. Please don't memorise exam answers. That is pointless. You will not get a single question that will be phrased exactly the same way as any other exam question that you have access to through the library. I guarantee you that. Because we proofread them to make sure you don't. Be specific with your answers. Lots of references, please. If you can only manage references to Kotler, that's fine. But we're far more likely to have references to Ambler, Riesentraut, etc., etc., than just Kotler this, Kotler that, Kotler the other. The exam is specifically designed so that there is always a balance in content between terms 1 and 2. But we may well mix topics from terms 1 and 2 together in a question. So what I'm saying is, please make sure you revise both terms. You have lots of resources to help you. There's lots of stuff on Moodle for you. There's lots of extra stuff if you've got the Kotler textbook. And there's lots of extra stuff on things like Marketing Profs and eMarketeer, etc. And stuff that you can access through either the RSS links that are on the right-hand side of Moodle or through my Twitter page or the university's portals as well. A good way to make sure you get through the exam is to balance how much you know across all the topics versus what you know in great depth on 1 or 2 topics. There is a tendency to try and get lots of detail about 2 or 3 of the topics and then pray that those topics come up on the exam paper. It's rare that that gamble pays off. I'm not saying it doesn't, because sometimes it does. It certainly paid off when I was doing my chemistry paper several years ago. But I wouldn't advise it. The idea is for me to try and give you the best insight to get through this course. And the best insight is to have a measure of breadth as well as a measure of depth in 1 or 2 topics. The marking will be done by Justin and myself. Justin will mark 50% of the papers, I will mark 50% of the papers, and we will then swap. All fails will be double marked, all firsts will be double marked, anything on the borders will be double marked, and then 10% of the remaining scripts are also double marked. Please try and write legibly. We will not mark you down for spelling. Caveat on that. If you misspell a marketing term, you will lose marks. Okay, so if you can't spell targeting, you better learn. You will not be marked down on English phrasing. You will be marked down if we can't understand what you've written, either because your handwriting is illegible, mine is, I know it is, or because you have phrased things in such a way that we just can't understand what you're trying to say. There's almost 200 of you taking the exam. We don't have the luxury of spending an hour trying to decipher excuse me, what you've written on an exam paper. And indeed, it quite clearly states in the university's regulations, it is your responsibility to make your paper legible. If we can't read it, we'd be quite within our rights to refuse to mark it and you get a 0. Now, we don't normally do that, but please, the easier you can make it for us to understand, the more chance you have of getting a decent grade. Just in case some of you can't remember the barriers, 70 to 100 is a first, 60 to 69 is a 2-1, 50 to 59 is a 2-2, 40 to 49 is a third, and anything below 39 is a fail. When it comes to your final year grades, it is an average of the 3 pieces of work. But there is also a consideration of how we think you've worked, how well you've worked, and what we call the mark trajectory, whether your mark is going up or going down, as to whether or not you get through if you're on the borderlines. Justin and I are quite happy to give people full range of marks. In fact, today on 2061 coursework I gave somebody a 95. If you can produce the work, you will get the grade. We do not mark to a curve, we do not mark to allocations. But you have to produce the work to get the grade. When you get your exam mark, if you are unhappy with it, you need to do something about it straight away. Once the exam board has sat, there is a 0 chance of getting it changed. And I do mean 0. Once the exam board has sat, your grades are in stone. Your first port of call for a complaint about an exam grade is the School of Management, who will then instigate the procedure. It will then be re-examined internally, and they will either find that the grade stands or they will alter the grade. It's not often that the grade is altered, but sometimes it is.